Hello everyone and welcome to Hunting Island State Park. Happy St. Patrick's Day. It is March 17th, 2013. And I have today off from work. And there's a lot of stuff I could be doing right now. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to the beach today. And here I am waiting in line to get in. I actually have a state park pass. It costs, $70, $75, and it's good for the whole year, and it gets you into all the South Carolina state parks. This is one of the most popular state parks in South Carolina, so you get people from all over. That plus Beaufort, which is the closest town of any real size anyway, has a couple different like military installations on it. Air Force, is it? No. I forget exactly. But anyway, you get people from all over the country for that too, and they come out here. There's the station up there. Now I'm going to turn this off and be back later. Welcome to the park. There's the ocean there through the trees. Don't know if you can hear it on the video or not. That there is the back of the bathhouse. I'm actually parked in the back parking lot. Here's Bertha. Hi, Bertha. It's busier today than it normally is, although there's nobody parked over in this parking lot yet. I suppose because it's a holiday and a Sunday. Normally I come out here on weekdays when it's really empty. Bertha says that it's 69 degrees outside, which is gorgeous, so I picked the right day to come out here and do this. Fun fact, I actually wrote one or two of the original 7 blog posts for Interstellar Orchard before I launched the site, right here at this picnic shelter. The ocean's right over there. Concession stand, that's the bathhouse that I'm parked behind, and right here is the Lighthouse. For $3 you can take a walk out there. You can see actually people out there on the railing. It's got a really great view. But yeah, in a way, this right here was the birthplace of Interstellar Orchard. So when you come down from the lighthouse and go to the beach, you turn left. See, out there is where the regular beach area is. And you quickly come across this area where the trees are falling into the ocean. Water's kind of high right now. This is where I took most of the original photographs and like the header picture and my about page picture for Interstellar Orchard. That was in June of 2011, so it was still a few months before I actually started the blog. Every time you come out here it looks different because the ocean is eating away at Hunting Island. It's eroding away the shore. So there's different trees down every single time you come out here. So it doesn't look quite the same as it did back then, and it's always changing. But it's very pretty. So back that way is the lighthouse, and at this part the forest actually gives way. There's a saltwater marsh back there, so it's a lot more open. And if I keep heading this direction, I'm going to come across the campground. You can't get into the campground unless you've paid the fee or unless you walk down the beach like this. Beach back along this way, and as you can see here behind the beach is the saltwater marsh. Here's a little stream that comes out. This thing moves a lot depending on tides and how high the water is. Back there where that point is, that's where the campground is. The ocean eats up the salt marsh just as much as it's eating up the forest. So here you can see That darker soil underneath the sand is actually kind of like salt marsh, broken up grass and dirt. And it's got all the sand on top of it because the sand keeps washing in, but it's really squishy, kind of funny feeling. And this here's all the sand that washed in on top of it. Made it to the campground. So once you get past the salt marsh area where there aren't as many trees, you come across that little point, and that's this right here. There's the beach for the campground. Here is where the water occasionally comes up into the campground, and the sites are right here on the water. Another bathhouse. This is, I have to look at my map to see which loop this is. There's 2 loops that are on the water like this, and 2 loops that are farther in that aren't on the water, but it's pretty easy to access the water from all of them. None of the campsites are right on the beach, because as you can see, the beach is not a very safe place to be. There isn't a whole lot of beach when the tide is all the way in at all, so there's really no camping right on the beach here in Hunting Island. Once you get back from the water, the wind dies down a lot. This here is peeking through at the other loop that's out by the water. And where I am right now, this is the access point to the beach for the back loops. And these are the back loops over here. There's the dump station, and back the way I came, there is the center where you register, where the road where RVs come in on, and you register, and you can't get beyond there with a vehicle unless you've paid your money. Here I'm looking at a back loop site. So the front loops are a lot more open. There's a lot less underbrush compared to these back loop sites where you do get a lot of underbrush and there's more separation between sites, so you get a little more privacy. There's less wind back here too, which is good for making fires, but when it's warm out, that means it's warmer back here because there isn't any breeze. So it all kind of depends on what you like, if you'd rather be as close to the beach as you can get, or if you'd like to have a little more space between your sites. More of the back loop. This is the playground area though. Figured I should get a picture of this. Pretty nice. There's benches around it. I'm sitting on one right now. And then back behind it is like a little pavilion area. If you have a big group of people. It is a gorgeous day. I don't know if you can hear the birds. Far back loop looks pretty empty right now. Some of the loops look like they're right on top of each other, but they're actually not, because Hunting Island is all sand dunes, and as you can see there's hills and stuff, so there's other sites right on the other side of that hill, but you can't see them from this site because there's a mound in the way. This is the other beachfront loop, but there isn't as much beach because well, there's access points. But you can't actually see the ocean from the sites because there's sand dunes and you are not allowed to climb on them. So you can hear the ocean, but you can't really see it from here. And right over here we have there's just a couple paved sites in the whole park. Most of it's dirt and gravel. A lot of the beach, like the loops up front actually, the beachfront loops have really small sites and you can't fit big rigs on it. There are a couple paved sites here, and these are handicap parking. So if you do have trouble with mobility and need handicap sites, there are a couple. Now I'm down on the other end of the island. There's the Lighthouse path, and then there's this path. This leads to the Lagoon, and that's what we're looking at here. On the other side of those trees is the ocean. Apparently this lagoon was made by digging out a bunch of sand for something. For there's pretty good fishing in here. And it kind of runs parallel to the ocean down that way. Interesting note, you can see there are power lines over there on that little tiny bridge of land. The campground is on the other end of Hunting Island, and on this end there are cabins, and a lot of these were rentable. You could rent them just like you can rent the campsite sites, but they were right on the ocean, and the ocean has claimed most of them now. The road's blocked off to all but park personnel, but you can walk down there, and I've walked down there and taken pictures of it, and yeah, it's neat looking, but there's no way you can stay in the cabins anymore. But also on this end of the island are a bunch of hiking trails. One of them follows the lagoon, and a couple of them go farther inland. Okay, right now I'm on the Lagoon Maritime Trail Loop. Along the lagoon here, it's pretty much all palmettos, which is pretty cool looking. A lot of the trees along here have black on their bark, and that's because there was a controlled burn here not that long ago. There's a little bit of a field here next to the lagoon. Well, a grassy area, I'm not sure if you could call it a field. The sky's getting cloudier as the day wears on. It's not supposed to rain though, just be cloudy. More lagoon. Here's something that surprised me the first time I came out here. It's cactus. Prickly pear cactus, I think. Not something you'd expect to see on the East Coast, but apparently it's normal for the island. At least that's what the signs tell you by the visitor center. Doesn't look very perky right now, does it? I think usually during the summer it looks a bit better. They never get much bigger than this though here for comparison. That's all the bigger it is. I hazard a guess that some bird of prey or something largish made that nest, because that's pretty sizable. Now I'm off of the Lagoon Trail and taking one of the through the island trails. Just wanted to give you a look at how different it looks once you get away from the water. It's palmettos, pine trees, and live oaks. It may look like I'm on top of a hill right now. Hunting Island was made out of sand dunes, so it's all sand. If you look at the trail that I'm on, even though I'm far away from the ocean now, you can still see bits of shells and stuff here. That's because at one point this was all underwater, and over time currents and stuff conspired to leave a bunch of sand built up in dunes, and as the dunes pushed farther and farther out to sea, trees grew on top of the dunes, and that's how Hunting Island came to be. And now the process is kind of reversing itself, and the sand dunes are getting eaten up by the water again, but that's why it looks like it's so hilly in here. It's not really hills, it's just sand dunes. So the palmetto is South Carolina's state tree, and if I remember right, I read something about it somewhere that it's the state tree because it was instrumental in defending some important fort or something during the Civil War. There was a barrier of palmettos and they kept cannonballs from the Union from destroying the fort or something like that. That's what palmettos look like when they're all grown up, but when they're little they look like this here. And Hunting Island actually has palmettos, and they have palm trees as well. And you can tell this is a baby palmetto because there's actually like a spine here, a spine that goes along that these posts are coming out of. If I come around from the bottom, I think you can see it better. There you see, so it's kind of curved out like that and it fans outward. So this right here will one day be a palmetto. It'll get taller. Now this, on the other hand, right over here next to it, this is not a palmetto. This thing does, it's ground cover and it'll get bushier, but it won't get taller. And you can see that the leaves spring out of one one central point there. There isn't any spine or anything. So to back up, not a palmetto, palmetto. So there's your lesson for today. Now for the last side of Hunting Island. This is quite literally the other side. So Hunting Island is a long, skinny island, barrier island, as I said. And one side faces the ocean, and the other side faces salt marsh. And this is a boardwalk that you can take that goes out through these other little tiny islands out into the marsh. I'm not going to take it all the way out because it's getting late and I'm getting hungry and I have other stuff to do, but this is all Spartina or Spartina grass, also called cord grass. That's what salt marsh grass is. It takes longer to get greener than everything else, so it'll probably be about June before this is actually all green looking and pretty. The trees and stuff will get greener.